Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. Hello everybody. I'm starting to put a few clips together that eventually will get uploaded, but I wanted to start by showing you I'm finally getting around to harvesting the first of these Hampton lettuce heads. It is supposed to fall apart into a salad. I'm hoping I can cut it below the soil level and it won't fall apart until I get it home and wash it or whatever. Because I forgot to bring a plastic bag with me. It's not going to be fun if it falls apart. Let's see what we've got here. Cut easily anyway. No, that without the weeds. What are you seeing? I can't tell. Get fairly good look at that or not, but it's holding together nicely. I'll be able to wash it and then make the cut that turns it into a loose salad. It looks very nice. I'm glad I got one because I'm worried now that they're going to bolt. It's very hot in here in the greenhouse. So far they haven't bolted, but I think it's a distinct possibility. That will be, at least part of it will be dinner this evening. While I'm here right now, I'll at least show you my potatoes. I finished earthing them up. The soil is almost to the top of the containers. Amazes me how fast they grow. At least the tops are growing fast. We hope there's potatoes forming down below as well. I've mentioned before, but for those of you who haven't heard, the variety is Kennebec. It's an old-time variety in this area. Sort of an all-round potato. You can use them for bakers or for mash or roasting or whatever. They're just a good all-purpose potato, white and fairly large. Whether they'll be fairly large or not in a container, I don't know. There's several sizes of containers there, from medium to very, very large. And I did the same thing in each one of them. I put 3 small seed potatoes. So another number of weeks from now before we find out what's down there, though, I guess. So that's just some cold, clear water running in a glass bowl so I can dump this around and make sure it's clean. Don't use any herbicides or pesticides or anything like that, so I'm not worried about that. But I still think it's a good idea to give it a wash. See, the leaves have fallen off. I'm not quite sure where to make the cut because this has been let go too long and there is a stem coming up through a lot of it, so I'm going to try about right in here and see what happens, I guess. Yeah, that's falling apart nicely. So far so good. I'm not so sure about the rest of it. I'll just remove it from the stem that it's on. I think it wasn't very far away from bolting. Well, that is a large pile of salad. I will get out my salad spinner and dry it in the spinner, and then I'll put it in a plastic bag, large plastic bag, seal it and put it in the refrigerator. An hour or two like that, still damp and chilled in the refrigerator, will make it a lot crisper. So I can hardly wait to have a salad with it this evening. Well, I moved a lot of my sweet tumblers in the fabric pots outside and put them on that potting bench there. That's 7 plants with, I would think, literally thousands of blossoms on them. I don't seem to be getting good pollination inside. I mean, I'm shaking the branches every day, 2 or 3 times some days, but I don't seem to be getting great pollination, so I thought I would move quite a few of them outside and let nature take care. Hopefully there will be pollinators around and pollinate a good amount of the blossoms on the things. There were 10 altogether, so there are 3 still inside the greenhouse. I guess that will do for some sort of a comparison. My tree seedlings that used to be on the bench are down on the ground. We almost got photobombed by Angel. But all except for those Norway spruce on the end, they've got to be planted in the ground in the next couple of weeks or so anyway to get them established before fall arrives and they lose their leaves and whatever. So that's a project coming up pretty soon. I have 2 beds of the winter squash, a buttercup type of winter squash, supposed to be semi-vining. But what I'm showing you here also is these gigantic mushrooms that come up in this bed now for the last 2 years. I guess I pulled some out last year. I've just left them alone. A lot of them are rotting away there now. But this bed, I'll show you the other bed as well. This bed, they don't seem to be growing quite as fast. And if I get a chance to go up to the community garden and show you how they're doing up there before I put this video together and upload it, it's just such an ideal place up there for a vegetable garden. It's in full sun from early morning until late evening, and the plants up there are doing so much better. This is the second bed of the winter squash. There are half a dozen plants in each of the beds, and this bed does seem to be doing marginally better. For some reason, the ones in the other bed, even though I water them every day, I notice that they kind of wilt halfway through the day, so soil can't be as good there, I guess. And these are behind my potatoes. Well, let's take a look at what's been going on inside the greenhouse. My Angel dog, heard her name, just a shot in through the door as I usually do here, I guess, with the greenhouse. But I'll take you around and show you a few things. And get the camera in here. I'll sort of do a bit of a tour. Did a serious weeding in here yesterday, so it's actually looking better than it did. This is the French Heirloom melon. Supposedly tastes sort of like cantaloupe, but looks more like a squash. Just starting to do some vining. It's moving out, and I thought I could show you, but I can't get a shot down in there. There's also some flowers open on it. So far just male blossoms, but we do have some flowers, so I'm going to try to keep a close watch on it, because if it has female blossoms, I'm going to try hand pollinating it. Just 2 plants, and in that, one of those compartments for these cloth planters here, fabric planters. I think I'll probably let each plant form one cantaloupe, one melon, and be satisfied with that if I actually get them to ripen. And that's the Spanish Chile de Arbol tree chili, and it has green chilies on it. You can see them for the leaves there or not, but this green chili standing up in there everywhere. And I think 2 more of the plants, there are only 4 plants, 2 more of them have blossoms. The third one is growing, a nice healthy plant, but doesn't have any blossoms yet. To pollinate those, all I've done is shake the thing a couple of times a day when I come out, and it seems to be working quite well. And this is my one indeterminate tomato plant. It's that German green tomato, green when it's ripened. It still fascinates me. How do you know when it's ripe? I've never grown one before. But it has got 2 trusses so far of blossoms, and I just keep tweaking them like that when I come out here. And there's a 3rd truss up at the top that hasn't started blooming anything out yet. And it is, I don't know, 10 inches off the ground to begin with, but it's probably 4.5 feet tall at this point. It's got another 1.5 2 feet to go before it reaches the roof in here anyway. I did a serious weeding on the strawberries, and as you can see, there's still that oxalis stuff in there. The major first flush of berries is pretty much over. There's still quite a few there to ripen. I can show you a few of them down there. But these are an ever-bearing variety, so they will continue to bear fruit right up until frost in the fall. But each time they put out a little bit of fruit, it isn't going to be as many as they put out the first time around. I was asked by somebody if I was going to make jam with them, and the way they were ripening and what I was getting, I was really enjoying them. Every second day I was picking a bowl and eating them in various ways. I think in order to make a jam, I would have to have kept picking and freezing them until I had enough, and then make the jam with it, which is fine. You can do that, but I couldn't be bothered. I was enjoying the fresh berries too much. I'm going to pull the last of what I've been calling my spring onions. They were just onion bulbets or whatever that overwintered in here, and I knew they would bolt and go to flower, and that's what they did. That's what you're looking at there. If you can see it, that's a blossom spike. I just cut the blossom off the top of it. But I won't be using the greens. They're getting quite tall and tough, but I've been using these small onions, and they're delicious. So this is the last of them. This will give me 2 of these beds that are empty. I've been thinking maybe I'll plant some beets. I haven't grown any beets yet this year. Prepare these beds and put some beets in, I guess. I don't have to their size. I just cut the greens off and clean them up, and I'll put them in the fridge after I've done that in the vegetable crisper. But I've been using them now for quite a while, and they're a very tasty onion. So I guess that is the end of them, though. If you remember, the Radicchio was eaten right down to the ground by something. And that's one of the ones that came back on its own. If you can see some smaller ones off to the left and right there, it's where I put additional seed in. But it looks like that one might be going to attempt to hit up again, as long as whatever it is that likes my Radicchio doesn't return. And next to them, I think that's where the French breakfast radish were. I put some asters in, and the variety is supposed to be a mixture of colors, a short aster, 1 to 1.5 feet tall, something like that. Well, I've got them planted in 2 or 3 locations, and so far all I'm seeing is a hot pink. There are some flowers that seem to be mostly white, but I think they're on the same plant. They turn hot pink when they get into full bloom. For the most part, the onions are vertical and have grown a lot of foliage, which is what you want for this time of year. We've had the summer solstice, and soon the days will start to get shorter. And with day-neutral varieties, which I think this is what these are, that will be the time when they start to produce the bulb, the root at the bottom. They've grown the nice top, and now they'll start to put their energy into the bottom. I have been fertilizing these with Miracle Grow liquid fertilizer, water-soluble fertilizer. I watched a YouTube video by, I can't think of the man's name, doesn't make any difference I guess, but I think probably down in Texas or somewhere where they grow fantastic onions. And he said to water with 20-20-20 until the vegetative state is over, and then you can switch to a regular multi-use garden liquid soluble fertilizer. So that's what I've been doing, and I've had good results with the tops. Fingers crossed that I'll actually get some onions out of it. My cucumbers are doing very well. They're really just getting started vining, but I always think they're doing kind of slow, but you have to realize a plant grows, its speed of growth is directly proportional to the number of large leaves that it has. So the larger it gets, the quicker it grows, is what I'm saying. The first 2 are what we call the English cucumber. It's a greenhouse cucumber, seedless, those long, slender ones. And the 6 behind it are European gherkins. also as seedless ones, and I had great luck growing them in the greenhouse last year, so I'm at it again this year. But multi-use those ones are. You can eat them fresh or use them to make pickles or relishes or whatever. And the one in the front, the two in the front there, what we call an English cucumber, not really suitable for making pickles or whatever, but they're a great salad cucumber. Angel is so patient. No matter what I'm doing, she just sits down and waits for me. I wanted to show you this particular little square here. Both those plants were new from Richter's this spring. The larger leafed one is sage, and the smaller leafed one is French tarragon. But they have grown incredibly since they were unpotted and planted in here. So here's hoping I successfully bring them through the winter. My sage just got, well, tall and woody, and I discarded it. I mean, it wasn't really dead, and replaced it with this one. But last winter, my French tarragon that had been here for, I don't know, 10 years maybe, the voles. It looked like it always looked in the spring, with dead stems on the top and whatever that have died back, and I was going to go over and just break those off or cut them off and wait for the new foliage to come up. Well, they weren't attached to anything. The voles completely devoured the roots. What I keep calling zucchini are doing very well. They really liked the area that I transplanted them into, I guess. I did put a lot of sheep manure in. There is blossom buds, but nothing that's opened yet. I don't think I actually bought what was classified as a zucchini. It's a summer squash of some sort. At any rate, I'm going to try to remember to look that up and put it on the screen here, so I can finally correct myself. I keep saying sort of like a zucchini, but I'm not quite sure what it is. My cauliflower, cabbage, and broccoli, and I think that's the order that they're in, 6 of each looking down that row, have done very well and are very clean so far. No damage from the cabbage loper that I can see at all. I have done 2 applications of BTK, but I don't think that's the reason for the leaves being so clean. I think there just haven't been many cabbage lopers around yet. If they had laid their eggs on it, you would still see some small holes in the leaves because the caterpillar has to eat some of the BTK before it kills it. So I'm not seeing anything yet. They're looking very clean. I don't see any cauliflower heads starting to form or any broccoli. I do think the cabbage are slightly starting to hit up. Angel is inspecting the gourds. They have to be sniffed this morning for some reason. In the years I've had Angel, 5 years now, gardening, she has never stepped over into a garden bed and done any damage. These are all gourds. There's 4 beds of them, 4 plants in each bed, and it's a variety of gourds. No blossoms yet, but I do see blossom buds on all of them, so next week or so, if we get some sunny days, they should bloom out. I don't know if I should brag or just keep quiet so I won't jinx myself, but last year, even earlier than this, I had something that was digging up squash plants, or digging in the area of squash plants and destroying them. So far this year I haven't lost a single plant in the 2 kinds of squash or the gourds, so fingers crossed that continues. I got started doing some weeding over in this area the other day and planned to finish it yesterday, but it was inside the greenhouse only because it was raining, and it rained most of the day. So that is 2 short rows of parsnips and my 2 short rows of carrots, which have all come up quite well. But I really got to get the weeds out of there. The oxalis, for one thing. It's a nuisance here. It comes up everywhere. This is the perpetual spinach, which is a type of chard. I did get a fair amount of weeds out of there, and it's still looking kind of knocked over. Anybody grown it before? Should I expect it to grow up into big leaves like chard does, or am I supposed to harvest it and use some of it at this point? I've picked a leaf or 2 and eaten it raw, and I must say it does have sort of a spinach taste to it, and it sort of looks like spinach, maybe a larger variety of spinach. Lots of scapes on the
garlic. Variety is Red Russian. I did pull one. I think I mentioned in the last video I might pull one, and it hadn't even started to divide. It was like an onion bulb. So I'm leaving them alone. I will be removing the scapes this week because they'll put their energy into growing bulbils instead of a head of garlic. My scarlet runner beans are running. They are practically at the top of the teepee, and I'm sure they will go over the top. Those were the tallest canes that I could buy. They were 7 foot, and of course you push a foot of them into the ground. So you've only got 6 feet left for them to grow up, and runner beans will grow tall. So I suspect it will be a funny looking thing with beans over the top there before long, but I look forward to seeing some red flowers any day now. Well, I will close this off with a short look up at the community garden. Now this is my plot at the community garden. Forgive the jiggly, I did not bring a tripod with me. You can see the squash in amongst the potatoes. The one closest to me here is definitely the zucchini-like thing. Other than that, I have 2 of the winter squash and 2 of the gourds planted here. And I can no longer tell which is which. I didn't mark them when I planted them. This is definitely another of the zucchini-like things, and then something else, and something else. I'm thinking the variegated sort of leaf on that one. I don't know as I see another one like it. I'm thinking that might be a gourd. I didn't plant potatoes here this year. I had potatoes only in this bed last year, and these are all volunteer potatoes. I had 2 different kinds, Yukon Gold and Russet planted, and if I can remember for sure which side had which, I think mostly what's coming up here is Russet. They're over on that far side of the bed here, and I think that's where the russets were. That one at the end there might be a Yukon Gold. And there's another one coming up next to that zucchini thing, so that's probably a Yukon Gold as well, and one there. Had miserable luck with the Yukon Gold here last year. It'd be interesting to see what they're like this year. Ended up throwing most of them away. The russets grew beautifully. The Yukon Gold, when you cut them in half, were dark gray or black in the middle. Some kind of a blight or something, I guess. Well, I'll take a look around at a few of the other plots here. This bed is next to mine, and it's all potatoes. I think I checked the labels on his potatoes a while ago, and he's got gold, which I assume is Yukon Gold, and russets, like I had last year. So be interested to see how large his russets get. Mine were very good, but they didn't grow to a very large size. And this is one of the beds that again belongs to the nursing home here, their strawberry bed. It's been doing wonderfully. I'm sure they've already had a good harvest of strawberries off of it. They're a bit later. It's also an indeterminate variety, a bit later than mine, but because mine are growing in a greenhouse where it's been much hotter. But as you can see, they're getting some lovely ripe berries there now. Another nice bed of potatoes. Theirs have already got flowers on. I don't even see any blossom buds started on mine at home yet. Well, we've had nice weather, and you have to have a little wet weather, I guess, to go with the nice weather. We had good rain yesterday, which was great for the gardens. And today, as you can see, we have fog. The long range on this weather app thing that I have on my phone isn't looking good for the next 2 weeks. Some sunny days or partially sunny days, but a chance of rain about every day. Frequently, though, when they give this thing where they say 24, 25% chance of rain, we get nothing here. But nevertheless, it doesn't look like any hot, sunny weather coming at us for the first week or so of July, anyway. Well, I will get this put together and uploaded. That is the conclusion to this little video. Thank you very much for watching.